Is anybody watching the news right now? Are black people watching the news? Are minorities watching the news? Are Democrats watching the news? Because I promise you, if any of us were really paying attention to what's happening right now, we would all be talking about this the same way we talk about celebrity news, celebrity gossip, celebrity tea. Because what they just did and what they are continuing to do right in front of our faces should have us all talking. My name is DeAndrea. Welcome to Hello DeAndrea. And today we are talking about something that should be all over your timeline, but it ain't. So since nobody else wants to talk about it, I will. I find it interesting that TMZ can break a story about a celebrity's parking ticket in 20 minutes flat. Hollywood Unlocked, E! News, all of them. The second something happens to a black celebrity, it is breaking news. Breaking news! Oh my God, we have breaking news. Black culture keeps every single one of those outlets alive. Let's keep it real. Black music, black athletes, black celebrities, black drama, black gossip. That's their entire business model. But when black people's votes are being threatened legally, real time, crickets. That silence is not an accident. That silence is actually very insulting. So let me make it plain, because it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, or how much you think politics has nothing to do with your life. What is happening right now affects every single one of us, and that includes you. The Supreme Court just ruled that states can legally redraw maps that are designed to weaken black voting power. And there is nothing you can legally do about it now. And the second the deed was done, states across the South started showing their true colors. And like they say, when people show you who they are, believe them. I need you to understand how we got here and why it matters. On April 29th, 2026, the Supreme Court killed the protection that kept states from illegally drawing maps designed to weaken black voting power. And I need you to understand what that actually means in real life. Imagine your whole block is black, and every election, your block votes together and your candidate wins because there's enough of you to actually make your vote count. So at the end of every election, your whole block comes together, you guys vote accordingly, and yay, we won! The person we voted for won! Yay! Now, imagine this. Somebody comes in and draws a line right down the middle of your street. They take half of your block and they say, y'all votes are now going to be counted with the community around the corner. And they take the other half of your block and say, now y'all votes are going to be counted with the community on the other side. So now your whole block no longer gets to vote together. Your vote still exists. It just doesn't matter anymore. Because now in both groups, you're outnumbered. You're outnumbered over here and you're outnumbered over there, because they decided to split your block up. And so now your votes don't count. You're outnumbered. Your candidate no longer has a way to win, to represent you. That is exactly what they just did to Memphis, Tennessee. And Tennessee is just the first state. Look at this map. Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, Virginia, South Carolina, all of them moving right now in the same direction at the same time. And they are showing us exactly what the end goal is. Ladies and gentlemen, Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson called it exactly what it is, a massacre. Alabama just went to the Supreme Court and they got permission to use a map that had already been thrown out for being discriminatory. Once the Supreme Court abolished the Voting Rights Act protection, Alabama brought the bad map back. The map that the Supreme Court had just said was discriminatory. Well, Alabama said, let's try it again. Let's bring the bad map back. And the Supreme Court said, okay, that's fine. Y'all can use it now. This is not one state jumping on the bandwagon, y'all. This is a coordinated effort to wipe black political power off the map before the November midterms. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, but how does this actually affect me? Well, let me tell you, you're already living this. If you grew up not being able to go to the school across town because you didn't live in the right zip code, that's the lines they're drawing. If your neighborhood has less resources, older facilities, less opportunities than the neighborhood 20 minutes away, that's the lines they're drawing. They have always used boundaries and districts to control what black communities have access to. Schools, resources, funding, and now representation. That's the lines they're drawing. It always has been. Now they're just boldly drawing the lines. And it goes all the way back. Back when this country was founded, they wrote something called the 3/5 Compromise into the Constitution. Enslaved black people were counted as 3/5 of a person. Not so slaves could vote, but so white men in the South could count black bodies and get more seats in Congress, more power. That's what it was about. They used us for votes, but they never intended for us to be able to vote. After slavery ended, Congress added 3 amendments to the Constitution. The 13th Amendment abolished, which means ended, slavery. So the 13th Amendment ended slavery. The 14th Amendment granted citizenship to black Americans for the first time. And the 15th Amendment gave black men the right to vote. So on paper, black people finally had rights. But then came poll taxes, literacy tests, violence, and so nearly for 100 years, those rights existed on paper and meant absolutely nothing in real life. It finally took people being beat on a bridge in Selma, Alabama, on national television, for Congress to finally pass the Voting Rights Act in 1965. And they have been dismantling it ever since. I want you to take a look at this video.
What type of human right is it to have access to white people? Like hell it is.
So you think like colored people shouldn't be around white people?
They don't have a right to be, do they?
I mean,
should white people have the right to move into a black country until they're the majority and then run the place?
I mean, free world.
No, it ain't a free world.
Damn. So is it white power all the way?
For me, yeah. I'm pro-white first, last, and always. In some ways, I'm very traditional. And I share a lot of views with the Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers did not establish a melting pot of humanity. They actually wrote who could be a citizen. Free white persons of good moral character.
That white man wasn't lying. He was just bold enough to say out loud what this country has been quietly doing for 250 years. The Founding Fathers already told us who they intended to be a full citizen in this country of the United States of America. And what you just watched on that map, that's them honoring their intentions. And I need everybody watching this to understand something. This is not just a black problem. Women in 1865, when they gave black men the right to vote, keep in mind that at that time, no woman was able to vote, white or black. When any community, black, white, male, female, and every other adjective out there, loses the ability to elect people who actually represents them, that's when democracy stops working for everybody. Everybody. So again, this is not just a black issue. If they can do this to black communities today, they can redraw lines around your community too, tomorrow. This is about whether your vote actually means anything. And right now, for a lot of people, it doesn't. They counted African Americans as 3/5 of a human being to build political power. Over the years, the Constitution has been amended to give minorities voting power. This current Supreme Court, this current administration is redrawing lines around our communities to take that voting power away. TMZ, Hollywood Unlocked, other media outlets, where are you? Crickets. Different century, same system, same intention. The only difference is that now we know exactly what they're doing. So let's act like it. I'm DeAndrea. I'll talk to you soon, or I'll see you later, whichever one is first.